When the world of football hears the name of this country, they usually associate it with the most dreadful record in international football. Some of the most lopsided victories in European football have involved this nation. In fact, they have broken the biggest win records for other countries. But behind an awful record and some of the most abysmal results in international football is a unique story that deserves to be told more. So I give you San Marino, the worst team in the world. Hey, so I have nothing to plug this time, but let me just give you a quick channel update. I plan on taking a 2-3 week break starting in the last week of December, mainly because I haven't exactly had a break since January, so I feel like it's a good idea to be refreshed into the new year. But also, one more thing. Why? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? The San Marino Football Federation was formed in 1931, but didn't establish a national team until 1986, when a team representing the federation played Canada's Olympic side. 2 years later, the small nation was granted the ability to participate in major tournaments, thanks to UEFA and FIFA finally recognizing them. San Marino were at quite the disadvantage starting this late on, and what made things worse was that most San Marinese players prior to the national team's existence had accepted call-ups from the Italian FA, except for one player, Massimo Bonini, San Marino's greatest ever footballer. Bonini was just 21 when he joined Juventus back in 1981. He was exceptional in breaking down the opposition thanks to his tactical intelligence and quickly became an important player for the old lady. The box-to-box midfielder was like a battery that never went out. In fact, Bonini's nickname was Platini's lungs due to his successful partnership with one of the greatest midfielders to play the game. One of the finest midfielders of his generation, and he helped Giovanni Trapattoni's Juventus win pretty much everything and anything you could think of. However, on the international side of things, Bonini had to wait until 1990 to play for San Marino's national team. Age 31, the midfielder was starting to slowly see his career winding down, but the thrill of international football was still as fresh as ever. Bonini had 19 caps for his country over 5 years, captaining them 15 times. San Marino's first match in a FIFA-sanctioned competition was against Switzerland in the Euro 92 qualifiers at the Stadio Olimpico. No, not that Stadio Olimpico, this one's better. Titani went on to be defeated 4-0 by a Swiss team wearing one of the worst football kits I have ever seen in my entire life.
Just when I thought things couldn't get any weirder. What the hell is that supposed to be?
San Marino then lost to Romania 6-0 nearly a month later, but the return fixture at home saw history in the making. San Marino's first ever goal, an equalizing penalty in the 26th minute from Valdez Pasolini. Pasolini recalls being so calm when taking the penalty that he didn't even fully realize the situation until the ball was in the goal. Unfortunately, San Marino went on to lose this game and the rest of their qualifiers, finishing last, having conceded 33 goals. La Serenissima entered their first World Cup qualifying competition with just 2 full-time professionals in Massimo Bonini and Marco Mazza. Other players included amateur goalkeeper Pierluigi Benedettini, who worked as a bus driver and would actually drive the team to games. Titani opened their campaign in Oslo, with Norway destroying them 10-0. After was Norway again, this time in Serravalle, and the San Marinese only conceded 2 early goals impressively enough. San Marino then played Turkey, and from a corner in the 52nd minute, Nicola Baciocchi scored Titani's equalizer, their second ever goal and their first from open play. La Serenissima held on for as long as they could, but Turkey would find the winner in the 86th minute. The Crescent Stars added 2 more, taking advantage of the fatigued and distraught San Marinese to win 4-1. Next was a trip to Wembley, and despite losing 6-0, a lot of these players who weren't even full-time footballers, mind you, recall San Marino's first ever match at Wembley as one of their most memorable moments. Speaking of memorable moments, next was Turkey and Serravalle. The match was off to a nightmarish start when goalkeeper and bus driver Pierluigi Benedettini was taken off for injury in the 5th minute. But substitute Stefano Muccioli was different sauce that night, making numerous saves to keep a clean sheet and help San Marino get their first ever draw. Following the incredible feat, the San Marinese were greeted by a 4-game losing streak, including 6-0 and 7-0 results versus the Dutch. San Marino's last match of their 1994 World Cup qualifiers was against England. England were in danger of not qualifying after losing to both the Norwegians and the Dutch. The 3 Lions had to win and have other results fall their way in order to qualify for World Cup 1994 at this point. But as said before, luckily, England were playing the whipping boys, San Marino.
Remember that Holland on this very ground. Oh, it's a mistake by Pearce, and humiliation here Gualtieri.
In just 8.3 seconds, Davide Gualtieri scored the world's fastest World Cup qualifying goal and shocked an entire nation that desperately needed to win. Gualtieri didn't even realize his feat until after the match when he was told by journalists. But not only that, the San Marinos held on to the lead for 21 minutes. Even though England went on to win 7-1, at the end of the match, both teams had failed to qualify for the World Cup. So really, San Marino won that night. Gualtieri's record-breaking goal would stand for over 20 years, and his name would be written in the annals of San Marino's history. The legend himself retired from the national team in 2000, and is now actually a computer salesman for his own business, with fans constantly visiting and asking for autographed memorabilia. Euro 96 qualifiers, as opposed to Titani's last qualification campaign, had no points won. San Marino finished last, conceding 36 goals, however, they would find the back of the net twice. Once through midfielder Pier Domenico Della Valle in the 34th minute versus Finland, then another from Mauro Valentini in the 52nd minute versus the Faroe Islands. World Cup 98 qualifiers were even more cruel, with La Serenissima conceding 42 and scoring not even once. That gloom would continue into Euro 2000 qualifiers, but at least San Marino would see a 6th ever goal hit the back of the net in a 4-1 loss to Austria in the Stadio Olimpico. The goal scorer this time was 21-year-old Andy Selva in just his second cap for the senior team. Going into the new millennium, San Marino were on a depressing 31-game losing streak. They had only scored 6 goals and conceded a total of 201 through 5 competitions. A friendly against Moldova in April of 2000 would extend that streak to 32. The journey to Asia for World Cup 2002 was off to a woeful start, seeing San Marino's losing streak extend to 35 games. One of these matches included a 10-1 annihilation at the hands of the Belgians, but they did score thanks to Andy Selva once again. This made Selva the first San Marinese player to score more than 1 goal for his country. Next on the campaign was a trip to Latvia, who had previously defeated San Marino a couple matches prior in Serravalle. Immediately, Latvia went up 1 through Southampton forward Marians Bars. In the second half, however, San Marino's Nicola Albani scored the equalizer and San Marino would see out a 1-1 draw, thus ending Titani's 35-match losing streak with just their 2nd ever point won in international competition. It was also San Marino's first ever away point. While the San Marinos were celebrating the draw like they had just won the World Cup, Latvia's coach Gary Johnson,
and what is Aleppo?
No, not that one, was fired immediately after the match, and Latvian reporters had dubbed the draw as Latvian football's darkest day. San Marino lost their remaining 3 qualifiers, but Adam Selva was starting to make scoring against Belgium a habit of his. Euro 2004 qualifying was another campaign where San Marino would not score a single goal. Titani nearly got their 3rd ever point, but a heartbreaking own goal from Carlo Valentini in the 89th minute ended those hopes. Nevertheless, there was a friendly right before San Marino's last Euro 2004 qualifier versus Sweden. The opponents were Liechtenstein, and the San Marini scored twice in a 2-2 draw. Then, on April 28, 2004, in another friendly versus Liechtenstein, Serravalle witnessed a stellar free kick from Andy Selva which found the top left corner in the 5th minute. Titani went on to hold off the opposing Liechtenstein attack and won their first ever match in their 14-year history. The San Marinos would ride a high they had never experienced before for the next 4 months. Then reality hit them again. I don't really need to say it for the 7th time, okay? It was probably not fun for San Marino here. Nevertheless though, as the saying goes, nothing is certain except death, taxes, and Andy Selva scoring against Belgium. He scored his 6th for La Serenissima in the following match against Bosnia. In 2006, Titani lost to Albania right before the Euro 2008 qualifiers, extending their losing streak to 12 since their historic victory. But that was nowhere near the worst thing to happen to the San Marinos in 2006. You might remember, Germany at the time had just come off losing to eventual champions Italy at a World Cup they hosted. And let me tell you something about the Germans post-World Cup. You did not want to face them. Especially if you were San Marino, who were practically Italian in their eyes.
끝날 수도 있어요. 너무 세게 맞았습니다. 너무 세게 맞았어요.
The score ended 13-0 to the Germans, their largest victory since 1940 when they played Finland. And as we all remember, they were a bit different back then. In the end, San Marino finished their Euro 2008 qualifying campaign last, conceding a whopping 57 goals. But despite losing all 12 matches, San Marino only lost by 1 goal at home in matches versus Cyprus, Wales, and Ireland. The Ireland match in particular, though, was almost as painful as the 13-0 loss to Germany. 21-year-old Manuel Marani had scored a late equalizer versus a strong Irish side on paper that struggled to break down Titani. San Marino were now within just 10 minutes of winning a historic point.
Oh, would you believe it? Would you believe it? Stephen Ireland.
2010 World Cup qualifying, same story. San Marino conceded 47 times and gave Poland their largest victory ever. However, on the positive side, Andy Selva managed his 8th and final goal versus Slovakia. Selva would go on to play for his country until 2016, and his reign as top scorer for San Marino will probably last decades. Even with a journeyman career that would only see Selva play for lower division clubs with mixed success, Selva will always be remembered by the San Marinese faithful. Debatably, he's the national team's best ever player. Euro 2012 qualifiers were just pure torment, as Titani finished with 53 conceded, all losses, and no goals scored. The year of our Lord 2012 came around, and before any threat of the end being near for humanity, more history would be made when Manuel Marani became the only player in San Marino's history to score more than 1 goal in a friendly versus Malta. In the same year, World Cup 2014 qualifiers had kicked off. After 7 matches and 38 goals conceded, San Marino scored their first competitive goal in nearly 5 years versus Poland. Despite the result being a 5-1 loss, Alessandro De La Valle was able to relish in a rare celebration amongst the San Marinese bench. Another viral moment for Titani was when they returned to Wembley for the first time since Galtieri's iconic goal. But it wasn't a goal this time, it wasn't even a moment during the match. It was the lineup British network ITV displayed, which showed the San Marinese lineup and every player's professions. But there's one specific player in this lineup that deserves more attention. Goalkeeper Aldo Simoncini. Simoncini was a highly rated teenager at then Serie B club Modena back in 2004. The goalkeeper was unlike any other talent San Marino had seen in a long time. But then, things took a turn for the worst. Simoncini, at age 19, suffered life-threatening injuries in a terrible car accident. I spent 5 to 6 months in bed without moving. When I first got up, I had no muscles left at all. I had lost 8-9 kilograms of muscle mass. It was a very difficult moment. Usually struggles like these would force people into retirements, but Simoncini was determined to make a return to what he loved, even if his career would never reach the heights once imagined with his time at the top level over. We can all look at Simoncini's career as a big what if, but for the goalkeeper himself and thousands of other players like him, it's not about becoming the best player in the league or at the biggest club, but being able to play the game they love at the end of the day. Euro 2016 qualification was quite positive in terms of San Marino standards. Titani ended a 62-game losing streak with a 0-0 draw against Estonia, and who else but the legend himself, Aldo Simoncini, to have the game of his life to maintain a clean sheet for La Serenissima. This was San Marino's first clean sheet since 2004 when they beat Liechtenstein, and their 3rd ever. It was also the first time San Marino had earned a point in a competitive match since 2001. Then later on in the campaign, graphic designer Matteo Vitaioli scored Titani's first away goal in 14 years against Lithuania. Immediately after the goal, San Marino's Twitter even took a jab at Cristiano Ronaldo. But just when Titani were about to earn a record 2 points in a qualifying competition, scenes of Ireland 2007 came back to haunt them. During their World Cup 2018 qualification campaign, San Marino made a visit to Oslo for the first time since they were destroyed 10-0 in 1992. And I'm sure Mattia Stefanelli's historic equalizer in the 54th minute tasted oh so sweet. Even though Norway went on to win 4-1, this was San Marino's first World Cup qualification goal since 2001. Later into the campaign, Titani scored another away goal in a 5-1 loss to Azerbaijan. Mirko Palaci's header placed him into the annals of San Marinese football history, as San Marino yet again finished with 0 points. The biggest storyline of this campaign, however, was when San Marino played Germany. After an 8-0 win for the Germans in Serravalle, Thomas Müller in a post-match interview questioned the point of such uneven games. He went on to add, "I understand that for them it is special to play against the world champions. I also understand that they can only defend with tough tackling. For this reason though, I wonder if these are games which bring unnecessary risks." In response, Director of Communications Alan Gasparoni wrote a lengthy and angry response consisting of 10 reasons why the match was useful. The two parties made up in the end, but this was some amusing beef.
Lewandowski. You know, Robert Lewandowski.
Before Euro 2020 qualifiers, San Marino appointed head coach Franco Varela, whose goal was to change the overall attitude of the team. He brought in youngsters and was strict with the squad, always urging professionalism and a desire to improve. No longer were matches just about letting in 6 and then trading shirts at the end. After suffering 8 defeats in the journey of qualifying for Euro 2020, finally something positive happened when Filippo Berardi would score Titani's first home goal in 6 years in a 3-1 loss versus Kazakhstan. Back in 2018 popped up this brand new competition, the UEFA Nations League. The competition was to help minnows like San Marino arrange matches. It would also help benefit these lower ranked nations financially, as TV money would be more centralized. Titani would now see more matches against teams closer to their level. However, 2018-19 wasn't so great, with San Marino finishing last and not scoring one goal. Then came 2020-21's UEFA Nations League. San Marino were grouped with Gibraltar and a team they had been familiar with before, Liechtenstein. The opening matches didn't go so well, but at least the scorelines weren't 7-8, 9-0. But next was a match against Liechtenstein. Going into this match, Liechtenstein's record was 156 lost, 16 drawn, and 17 won. San Marino's, on the other hand, was 162 lost, 4 drawn, and just 1 win, dating back to that historic night in 2004. But despite the odds and having less possession throughout, San Marino held strong and had the better chances overall. Neither team scored, and the match ended in a draw, marking Titani's first point in 6 years. Next was the final Nations League group match, a bout with Gibraltar in Serravalle. A couple days before the game, San Marino lost to Latvia in a friendly, so here was a decent chance to bounce back. And bounce back they did. The match ended in a 0-0 draw once again. Although such an insignificant result to the rest of the world, for the San Marinis, it was record-breaking. The result marked the first time San Marino didn't lose 2 matches in a row, and it meant everything to the players. It's times like these that remind us why we love this game. Oftentimes we are told football is a results business, but no matter how many trophies, goals, or even wins we have, all around the globe we all share that same undying passion for the sport that captured our hearts. San Marino are a team made up of mostly amateurs. They spend their days working as bankers, dentists, accountants, and they spend their nights dreaming big. It takes extraordinary strength of mind and character knowing just how much the odds are against you. It's honestly quite admirable. Passion allows one to surpass any hardship in the conquest of human fulfillment, and San Marino embodies that beautifully. This year, San Marino celebrated their 90th anniversary, playing England with a special kit carrying vibrant colors throwing back to San Marino's flag from 1465 to 1797. Hey, if anyone who works closely with the Federation could hit me up with one of these kits, that'd be really cool, and I'd love you. The scoreline, however, was a dull contrast. San Marino lost 10-0. The result yet again sparked up a debate about UEFA's international qualifying structure. A lot of people have this perception that teams like San Marino have no right playing at the same level as nations like Germany and England. Many nations have prompted calls for minnows like San Marino to be consigned to their own pre-qualification groups. So instead of quote-unquote wasting the top European nations' time, they duke it out amongst themselves to prove who was quote-unquote worthy. To be fair, it's a pretty good proposal, as the number of competitive matches between Europe's minnows would increase, helping them improve and enjoy more success. However, a plan should only be put in place because it's in the interests of all concerned, and not just nations who are tired of playing San Marino. But even then, I feel like people misunderstand the purpose of international football. For most countries in the world, there's no hope of ever experiencing glory in a major tournament. Many will never even qualify for one. Yet governing bodies continue admission to official competitions because international football is more than just the sport itself. It's about identity and representation. There's a reason why Massimo Bonini all those years back repeatedly rejected Italian call-ups to wait for San Marino to be given eligibility. Had he decided to play for Italy, he would have had to give up his San Marino citizenship, a part of his own identity. When asked later in his life what football was to him, Bonini simply said, "A dream come true." He couldn't care less about success, and he definitely wasn't going to trade away his own identity for it. For Bonini purely played for the soul of the game. FAs are using naturalization more than ever to improve their teams, but they're greeted by reactions of unease. Because at the end of the day, international football should be about the accurate representation of a country's people. Despite being ranked last in the world, San Marino's FA refused to naturalize players for improved results. That purity of San Marino's approach to their team is what international football is really about. Identity and representation. And boom, now we all know a little bit more about San Marino's national team. I wanted to make this video specifically because I felt like the media's portrayal of the San Marino's football team is just kind of unfair. It's almost bullying. It's always the same 3 things every single year. It's always, oh, San Marino and all their occupations outside their football team. Then, oh, San Marino's lost 10-0 once again. Should we even be playing these teams anymore? It's the same thing over and over again, and it's finally time that there's just another perspective that is shared to the world. I just wanted to say a massive thank you for 20k or whatever number I'm at right now. The growth has been insane, and the support on these video essays have been immense, so I cannot thank you enough. The next video essay, I'm not too sure when it'll be out because I want to take a little bit of a break throughout these next like 2 weeks of December. But of course, a massive thank you to all our patrons: Janos Balas, Adroit, Daniel Ortiz, Joseph Bonfante, Victor, Dominic Griffin, Emmett Shea, Lewis, Big Bird, Cash Getty, Exos Mubobo, and Tomicus. If you'd like to join the Patreon, there'll be a link down below and an annotation up there. You can follow my Twitter for any video updates and stuff like that. You can also follow my Instagram, follow my TikTok, trying to get to 3,000, and you can follow my inactive Twitch. But until then, I'll see you guys.